Here's more wrestling news for January 20th, 2023, and we're starting off with WWE, as next Saturday the company will host their annual Royal Rumble event in which 30 men and 30 women will compete for a championship match at WrestleMania. If you've seen any previous Royal Rumbles, then you'll know that WWE has some surprises planned, and this year is shaping up to be 2 great matches. That's according to WrestleVotes, who asked a source in WWE why the company didn't keep Cody Rhodes' return as a surprise for the men's match. In response, the source gave a twofold answer, saying that A, everyone already expected his return, and B, WWE is already more than pleased with these surprises already planned. It has been said that this year's Rumble will be all hands on deck, as the last thing WWE needs is the chaotic scenes backstage from last year's event that resulted in Shane McMahon's immediate termination. Whether these surprises match the likes of AJ Styles' 2016 debut or Edge's comeback in 2020, who's to say? But WWE has some big ideas in store for next week's Royal Rumble. One name who is teased returning at the Rumble is Matt Cardona, who has done pretty well for himself since his WWE 2020 release. A major star on the Indies and a former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, many have been surprised by Cardona's willingness to go back to WWE, but that may indeed be happening. This week, Cardona filed a trademark for the name Zack Ryder, his WWE moniker, for use on merchandise and for entertainment purposes. Trademark filings are often a sign of what wrestlers and promoters have in the works, so the former broski may be WWE bound soon enough. We've got some joyous news to report now, as AEW's Shawn Spears and his wife Cassie Lee have become parents for the first time. On Instagram, Lee and Spears shared a picture of their son, Austin J., who was born this past Tuesday, and we'd like to congratulate the pair of former WWE superstars at this joyous time. In February 2022, AQA signed a deal with All Elite Wrestling, but her run in the promotion hardly set the world on fire. In her 7 matches with the promotion, just 1 took place on TV, with the rest reserved for Dark and Dark Elevation, and her time with the promotion is up. Fightful Select reports that AQA has been removed from AEW's roster, and her deal is up with the company, which should not come as a surprise. It was in July that AQA announced that she'd be stepping away from wrestling, and her last match for any promotion came back on June 16th of last year for Warrior Wrestling. Whatever AQA does next, that'll be her call, but don't expect to see her in the ring of any promotion, including AEW. Speaking of departures from AEW, Frankie Kazarian first signed with the company back in early 2019, but he too has recently left Tony Khan's employment. The former AEW World Tag Team Champion appeared at Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill pay-per-view last week, and his departure has been made official. Fightful reports that, like AQA, Kazarian has been taken off the AEW roster, which comes after he announced he had signed a deal with Impact. Kazarian had been making appearances for Impact and on the Indies last year, but it's noted that at the time, he was still signed to a full-time contract with AEW. Kaz was a full-time member of AEW throughout 2022, but was seldom used, and has said that he passed on the opportunity to sign a contract extension with Tony Khan. The veteran Kazarian has been active on the wrestling scene since the late 1990s and has a wealth of experience from working in PWG, CZW, ROH, and many more promotions, but he is looking to make these latter years of his career his most successful years as part of Impact Wrestling. Before he and Cash Wheeler were All Elite, Dax Harwood was part of WWE and is one of a select few to become Tag Team Triple Crown Champion. FTR, then known as The Revival, held the NXT, Raw, and SmackDown tag titles throughout different times during their WWE run, but it was the latter title win that proved to be an issue for Vince McMahon. On the latest FTR podcast, Harwood recalled the backstage segment after he and Cash became SmackDown Tag Team Champions and the less than stellar response from the boss. So he comes to us, he goes to New Day and says, "Hey guys, great job, thank you, I appreciate it." They walk off, he leaves me and Cash there, and that's when he says, "Everyone tells me that you guys are the next great tag team. Everyone tells me you're the next Arn and Tully. Well, that's your problem. You're the next Arn and Tully. You're just great wrestlers, that's all." And he walks off. McMahon may have been able to acknowledge the in-ring skills of the Revival, but he clearly felt there was little more to the duo than that. Ironically, it would be McMahon's attempts to give them characters, hokey, awful, Flava Flav style characters, that would be the final straw and push FTR to leave WWE, and their focus on wrestling would certainly do well outside of McMahon's clutches. FTR wasn't on this week's episode of Dynamite, but Saraya was, and has had fans talking with her heel turn. Last week, fans saw Saraya and Toni Storm come up short against Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, and that loss has seemingly pushed both women over the edge. When Storm faced Willow Nightingale this week, Saraya's interference helped Storm get the victory, and the two ex-superstars delivered a post-match beatdown that was interrupted by Ruby Soho. Cementing her heel turn on Twitter, Saraya lashed out at Hikaru Shida, who did not participate in the attack, saying that Shida was doing the opposite of what she wanted as per usual. Many fans felt that Shida was going to turn heel on Saraya, especially after the British wrestler picked Storm over her for this month's tag match, but it'll now be Saraya and Storm getting the boos. Whether fans will be ready to boo a woman who worked tirelessly for 5 years to try and wrestle again, that remains to be seen. But this heel turn was certainly a shock on Dynamite. And we're ending today with Impact Wrestling, as Santino Marella is the new authority figure on the show, but he isn't the only sheriff in town. During this week's episode, Ernest the Cat Miller made an appearance and noted that he used to be commissioner in WCW. Throughout the night, Santino turned to Miller for advice, and the former Intercontinental Champion was told to follow your heart by the Cat. After WCW's demise, Miller would spend a handful of years in WWE and even got a role in Mickey Rourke's Academy Award-nominated film The Wrestler, and it looks like he'll be sticking around in Impact Wrestling. Now, we all know what happened with Naomi last May, and the reason why the glow hasn't been seen on WWE programming in over half a year. Since then, Sasha Banks has gone on to become Mercedes Moné in New Japan, but Naomi is still yet to resurface in WWE or any wrestling promotion. Thanks to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, we do know more about her situation, as it is reported that the former SmackDown Women's Champion was close to re-signing at the time of the walkout. Naomi's contract was close to expiring at the time of the walkout, but that both sides seemed really excited to extend the deal. Specifically, Fightful was told that Naomi was likely headed for the biggest money contract of her career before things got derailed by the situation back in May that led to she and Sasha walking out. A source in WWE, called a higher-up in the report, said that there has been contact between the two sides and they are confident that Naomi will be in WWE again, though didn't provide a timeline. With the Royal Rumble coming up next Saturday, fans could very well see her again soon, and odds are that WWE has surprises in store for the January 28th event in the Alamo Dome, and Naomi could be one of them. It's far too late for WWE to work things out with Sasha Banks, but Naomi isn't gone yet, and her return may indeed be just 8 days away. And we're ending with the Royal Rumble, as one popular theory among fans is that The Rock will be competing in the Men's Rumble match. With reports of Rock vs. Reigns at WrestleMania, it would make sense for the Brahma Bull to win his second Rumble match, and a recent piece of merch from WWE has got fans talking. This week, WWE has dropped some new merchandise on their website, 2 new hoodies that are all about the People's Champion. The Rock isn't the only name in the running though, as many fans expect Cody Rhodes to walk away with the win, and some have suggested that it could be Sami Zayn who emerges victorious, putting the honorary Uso at odds with the Bloodline. Is this merchandise a sign of The Rock's return, or just a happy coincidence? We'll let you be the judge, but this year's road to WrestleMania could certainly be electrifying.